Hey guys, welcome to the Spring Equinox 2023. This is a pretty unique equinox that we have going on this year as well because it happens to be happening in basically an exact correspondence and alignment with the new moon in Aries. The new moon in Aries is actually going to be happening tomorrow on the 21st, but because the sun is moving to 0 degrees of Aries, which is what causes our equinox when the sun ingresses into that 0 degree of Aries mark, that's our equinox, okay? And of course, the day and the night represents the day where we have equal light between the day and the night. And it also represents a 6-month period of time from the spring equinox to the autumnal equinox, the fall equinox that happens in September. But anyways, why I feel like this is a significant equinox, because it's happening in the same 24-hour period, essentially, as our new moon in Aries. The new moon in Aries, from an astrological perspective, this is really like the natural new year. This is the beginning of our astrological lunar cycle, and pretty much all astrologers look to the new moon in Aries chart that happens to get a read sort of on what is going to be developing and unfolding throughout the entire course of the year. It's sort of like the new moon of the entire year in terms of, you know, how like each month we look at the new moon of that particular lunar cycle and we can use that to gauge how things are going to unfold throughout the course of that lunar cycle. Well, when we're looking at an entire year, if we look at the new moon in Aries, which is the first lunar cycle, beginning of course in the sign of Aries for that new year, it gives us a good idea of what might be unfolding for us throughout the entire course of this year. So with the equinox, of course, the spring equinox, the rebirth of the spring, this is when we go from having waited on the end of the darkness, you know, the longer nights, to the balance, and then the light begins to win and take over. So it's sort of like the light begins to grow, the return of the light, springtime, right? But also the new moon in Aries, being it the beginning of our astrological lunar cycle, represents these fresh new beginnings and brand new starts as well. Brand new cycle, brand new year, brand new energy coming through with the new moon in Aries. So when we put both of these together, happening literally within the same 24-hour period of time, that 0 degree of Aries mark, and then the sun and the moon the very next day at the same 0 degrees coming into alignment, this is an era, this is a year generally that is very much so indicating some serious transitions, some serious new beginnings. Now, that being said, because the equinox is literally happening like within hours of the new moon in Aries, this equinox chart has a Pisces moon at the end of this Pisces lunar cycle that we're in right now, and the moon is in the very last couple of transiting the end of Pisces and going through the last several degrees of the sign, like really wrapping up this year, wrapping up this lunar cycle. And even though we have an equinox going on today, energetically, it's still kind of indicating endings and transitions and like the release point, okay? Moving us towards a few hours later, happening though on the 21st, because I don't think I said the equinox is happening. The sun ingresses to that 000 Aries mark at 5:25 p.m. Eastern time on the 20th. So it's later in the evening by the time that we're getting the sun entering the sign of Aries. So the sun will still be at that degree basically until 5 o'clock in the evening the following day on the 21st. And that is the day where the sun will also enter the sign of Aries, and we will have our new moon in Aries at the 0 degree mark. So even though the equinox is representing, right, this new beginning, this fresh start, this return of the light, this return of the sun, with the moon being the sign of Pisces, transiting the last degrees of the sign of Pisces for our equinox, this is representing, like I said, to me, energy of endings, release, and transition. That is like immediately followed after by these, like, and I'm talking immediately followed after by these like sudden, like almost like explosive new beginnings, like some very fresh starts, some extremely new, brand new, like rebirth type of energy. So that being said, because we're looking at an equinox chart today, the equinox is, you know, a good indicator of the next 6 months from equinox to equinox. I think that while we are heading towards a year and a cycle that is going to represent some fundamental, radical, and like extremely new beginnings in a lot of ways, specifically pertaining to value, worth, relationships, partnerships, work dynamics, stuff like that, and we'll get into that. It's almost like this year is just represented by these sort of like cascading endings and beginnings. I think between now and the equinox and the autumnal equinox coming in September, we are going to see a series of things sort of wrapping up, culminating, coming to a close, but being like immediately followed after and almost like replaced by these brand new unexpected beginnings that are coming through, and just realigning things actually in a way that I think is going to make a lot more sense to us moving forward. Now, all of that being said, let's talk about some of these aspects that we have playing out and how I feel like they're also supporting this notion of this extremely transitional 6-month period of time, leading us towards some like really radical changes that are going to be coming in the second half of the year. So I feel like this next 6 months, from the equinox to the next equinox, we're still going to be having a lot of things kind of coming to an end, but simultaneously we're going to be sort of going in some very new directions that maybe we hadn't even perceived of in the past. It's going to be some very revolutionary times I feel like we're looking at coming up here over this next couple months and throughout our 2023 astrological lunar cycle, which I'm going to be talking all about, you guys, in the new moon video for tomorrow. This is sort of like part 1 of that energy, okay? But releasing the past, embracing the future. Let's talk really quick. I'm going to sort of list the aspects that we have going on in alignment with our equinox energy today, and then we will talk about sort of the themes coming through as a result of the formula that these aspects are creating for us. So number 1, I feel like is very significant. We happen to have Venus coming into an exact alignment with the north node of the moon in Venus's sign of Taurus, which she rules on during our equinox, and also our new moon energy that we're going to be talking about more tomorrow. So new cycle in value, worth, love, money, partnership, relationship, financial. This is going to be a very changeable time, I feel like, coming up this year in terms of financial situations that are going on, you know, individually in our personal lives and also more on a collective world stage. Also, we have Mars and Neptune still in a square, a 2-degree orb square. This is no longer exact, but it's kind of significant, and I feel like it's still going to be coloring a lot of our experiences over this next 6 months because the sun is in the sign of Aries, right? We're looking at an equinox chart, Aries sun chart, ruled by Mars, okay? The moon, like I said, is in the sign of Pisces, Pisces being ruled by Neptune, rulers of both luminaries in the square together, for our equinox chart. So this is going to have its own like set of reverberations associated with it. We also, of course, have Jupiter and Chiron still in a conjunction in Aries. Now the sun is joining them. Mercury is there as well in a conjunction to the sun. And we have Saturn forming a trine to the south node. So this is a release from some karmic patterns, karmic attachments of the past as well. There's a lot of layers to this energy that is really working to transition us out of one era of our lives and bridge us energetically really into this new era of our lives, this new paradigm for ourselves that we're creating now individually, that is then therefore being extrapolated out to the collective whole as a process of this transition of ages from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. This is really taking off this year, and we are in both the breakdown and the rebirth. That is what this equinox energy is indicating. That is what this new moon in Aries energy that is coming up is indicating. So that is what we're working with. That is where we're going. Let's talk about how this energy is likely to be operating in this combination together right now. First of all, this Venus North Node conjunction. The North Node is the destiny point. This is the next phase of growth. In the sign of Taurus, this has to do with growth in alignment with like authentic potential and the resources within and how we nurture and cultivate those so that we can make something grow and develop that creates some type of abundance or comfort or beauty in our physical, tangible world somehow. This earth sign energy, this Taurus energy, it has a lot to do with creativity, work relationships, partnerships, projects. Taurus is the sign of the builder, so it's what we are building based on the resources that we have within. That's when we have a north node transiting the sign of Taurus, the energy is trying to give us a better understanding of those resources that we have within, so we know what to do with them and we know how to essentially go through this process of growth in alignment with developing our potential. With Venus there as well, Venus's relationships, finances, beauty, comfort, love, right? Venus rules the sign of Taurus. This is definitely going to put an emphasis on some very new beginnings. These planets coming to a conjunction in the sky. This is the origin point. They're starting a new cycle. We're starting a new cycle of growth in the realms of love, money, values, relationships, worth creating as well. That is requiring us also simultaneously to let go of something though, so that we can receive something new. Now, before I get into sort of laying out all of this information that I feel like is coming through as a result of our chart today, I do want to just start with a couple of the Sabian symbols. Now, these symbols, the position of Mars ruling our equinox chart. Mars is ruler of the sign of Aries. Of course, the equinox chart is based on the sun's ingress in the sign of Aries. So the position of Mars right now is going to be significant. Mars is at 28 degrees of Gemini. That Sabian symbol is a man declared bankrupt, okay? And then we've got Venus, who's making the, to me, probably the most significant aspect of this chart in the exact conjunction with the North Node. That's happening at 5 degrees of Taurus. That Sabian symbol is a widow at an open grave. Okay, so both of these significant symbols coming through based on the equinox chart in this symbol are talking about endings and beginnings. Coming to the end of something, ending a cycle, something needing to fall away, us needing to leave something in the past so that we can actually start over again, start something new, have the freedom to create and to like experience life again. But this way in alignment, right, with the North Node in Taurus, this discovery of this authentic potential that we have within and what we can do with it. This is universe trying to unlock actually our gifts and our talents and our abilities and guide us, nudge us in a direction towards actually activating our destiny and beginning to live our lives in a way that is actually bringing us so much more fulfillment, because it is true reflection of our purpose. Universe is trying to help us unlock our purpose so that we can awaken to the truth of our potential and, like I said, really activate our destiny and experience a greater sense of fulfillment in our lives moving forward. That is part of the self-actualization process. That is a very necessary component of our transition into the age of Aquarius. And it's happening with our equinox energy, both of these symbols being indicated, you know, and we don't need to focus on the loss aspect of them. Yes, that is likely to be a dimension of our experience, you know, what we need to release, what's coming to an end, what has it's just not there for us anymore, or it's not contributing to our growth or to our potential anymore. But it's, you know, these symbols are also talking about, like I said, like the flip side of that is this freedom to start again, to create something new. And we are beginning this brand new cycle in value, worth, relating, and creating. So, you know, we've got this equinox energy going on. We've got this new moon energy that we're transitioning into tomorrow, a period of endings and beginnings being mirrored in the way that this equinox new moon energy is happening itself, and also in the symbolism and also in the aspects. Venus in the North Node, Saturn in the South Node, you know, Mercury and Sun together in the sign of Aries, and Jupiter and Chiron, like even Mars squaring Neptune. This is busting up some illusions that have kept us in like an ideological prison almost, and kept us from seeing the truth of our potential because, you know, maybe we were enslaved or attached to some belief system about ourselves that was not actually a true reflection of our potential or of that destiny waiting to be activated right now. So it is indicating a very self-empowering period of time, okay? And don't forget, we have this equinox, we have this new moon, you know, happening basically the same time, and then 2 days after that, Pluto's entering the sign of Aquarius. This is major change, major transition, major endings and beginnings, major Phoenix rising energy, rebirth energy, empowering the individual. So all these endings that are coming into fruition right now have to do with places where we were surrendering our power and not recognizing our worth, our potential. potential, okay? And what's coming in, the opportunities coming in, the relationships coming in, the new life circumstances coming in, those are going to be what is a proper reflection of the value, worth, and potential that we are discovering now. And are they going to be supportive of that process of growth and self-actualization moving forward, because that's the frequency right now. That's the vibe. That's what's necessary to transition us into the age of Aquarius. So I do believe that over this next 6 months and today in this energy, focus on relationships and financial dynamics very much because of the Venus Taurus component. We've also got Jupiter and Chiron together right now. That is about financial stuff going on as well. There's likely to be a focus on work, projects, partnerships, assets, value, worth, resources, abundance, art, music, creativity, food, social relations, romantic relations, comfort, material possessions, economies, currency on both a big and small scale as well. Like I said, all of these themes, Venus, Taurus, new growth based in authentic potential, planting new seeds, and the spiritual battle. Another aspect of this energy is the spiritual battle, okay? The spiritual battle that is playing out between the past and future paradigms as like one faction of the energy seeks to maintain its dominance and control while the other seeks to like fight for the transition that is underway now. In this dynamic, neither side of this energy is wanting to surrender power, of course. Of course, things are going to unfold according to the galactic blueprint, but, you know, if power was gained and maintained through the frequency of the previous paradigm that is being eroded right now, you know, that's hard to let go of, and there's going to be an effort to sort of cling to that and maintain it, but it will be met with this opposing, contradicting force that is discovering and rising into their power now, as represented by Pluto's transit into the sign of Aquarius and the Jupiter-Chiron conjunction, this hero's journey and rising into a greater state of self-mastery, overcoming states of victimhood and lack mentalities and stuff like that. And this spiritual battle is another one of those things that is bridging us, you know, into this age of Aquarius, and is also coming into being as a result of us being at that point in the cosmic blueprint where we are going through this transition of ages. Why I'm mentioning this right now, specifically in this chart, in this video for the equinox, is because of the position of Uranus, which is ruling our transition in the age of Aquarius, also currently right now in the sign of Taurus, where Venus is meeting the North Node for this new cycle. Uranus being in the sign of Taurus too, ruled by Venus, as she is coming into alignment with the North Node in the sign of Taurus. This is putting a bit of an emphasis on Uranus as well and his rule right now, as this new Venus cycle that we are starting is going to have this Uranus flavor, which means things may be a little bit unpredictable. You guys expect the unexpected, but any changes happening right now are definitely for the better in the long run. This is a process of realigning things, righting things, rectifying things in one way or another. But of course, whenever Uranus acts, it has a tendency of disrupting comfort zones, and it's like blessings in disguise energy. But anyways, all that being said, we are talking about symbolism, and Uranus right now is at 17 degrees of Taurus. That Sabian symbol is this symbolic battle between swords, disciples of might, and torches, disciples of enlightenment. So again, the position of Uranus himself ruling the age of Aquarius, ruling our transition into the age of Aquarius, coloring this new Venus North Node cycle that is beginning today in correspondence with our equinox energy, is specifically referencing this spiritual battle. Might versus enlightenment, right? This strength versus skill, like this condensed power versus this more collectivized power. And this is the battle, though, that is breaking us through, that is realigning us and moving us forward into this age of Aquarius that changes the world, that changes the age, that changes the era. Okay, so that is another dynamic, I feel like, of our experience over this next couple of months, what we're transitioning out of and what we're moving towards, whether we are, you know, resisting the changes and actively trying to hold on to the past ways of being, or whether we are like opening and adapting and surrendering and being receptive to the changes that are coming now, with the faith that everything is working for us to move us into a place where we are actually going to experience like such just a greater experience of life and and fulfillment in alignment with our true purpose moving forward. Now, aside from the Venus North Node energy, this new cycle that we have starting now and that is represented by this, and also the Uranus component and dynamic of things, like I said, we also have Mars and Neptune coming into a square. We've been dealing with this energy throughout the past several months. We just came out of a weekend, last weekend, that was very much colored by the Mars square Neptune energy. We had the Sun and we had Mercury there as well. But this is again significant for this cycle because not only is it present, but the Sun is being ruled by Mars. And like I said, that Pisces moon is being ruled by Neptune. So we've got Mars and Neptune as rulers of the Sun and Moon themselves, the luminaries for our equinox chart. This could be a period of harsh confrontations with reality, disillusionment, like reality and sort of like mental breakdowns could be going on with a lot more frequency than we may have experienced previously. But this energy is also destroying the illusion. This is beliefs versus, ideas and information and facts and context and data. This is helping us to shift paradigms. This is changing minds and perspectives. This is dissolving narratives and projections and, fantasies and ideals and illusions that are no longer, that we're realizing were never what we thought they were. Okay, this Pisces moon is representing a period perhaps of some heightened sensitivity, perhaps like feelings of like emotional loss or even like victimization and stuff could also be coming up over this period of time, a desire to avoid or escape. But with the Sun at that first degree of Aries, our passions and our will are lighting the fire within us that can't be put out despite, what we may be experiencing in terms of like having to let go or move on from things on an emotional level. Courage and strength to overcome our emotional vulnerabilities, face the challenges at hand with a warrior spirit and a will to succeed. We also, like I said, have Jupiter and Chiron together in the sign of Aries. This is that spiritual warrior archetype being ignited, helping us to overcome previous limitations and have the faith and the confidence and the trust in ourselves to like move forward and move ahead and transcend, alchemize out of past states of victimhood and really like grasp on to the wisdom that we've gained through experience and utilize it to propel us forward. That's another dynamic and dimension of this. And the will to succeed is going to be running strong, I feel like, over this period of time as well. We also have Saturn in the trine to the South Node. So the South Node, this is the past, this is what we're releasing, this is what we're moving away from, this is karma. Saturn also rules karma. So all the way around, like this period of time is also representing this karmic release. We have Venus in the North Node together. This is, these brand new beginnings in alignment with the authentic truth of our heart and like a true sense of like value and worth. And then we have Saturn in the South Node coming together, talking about simultaneously this karmic release from the limiting like structures and forms and conditioning of the past. So again, on both sides of this, the way that the aspects themselves are playing out, same thing. This transitional period, this release, this letting go, this moving on, the man declared bankrupt, the widow at the open grave, like something is coming to an end. But it's in order for something brand new to come in that is really just giving us this whole new chance to like seize the day and experience something like totally new and different. Also, the Sun in the conjunction to Mercury for our equinox energy, it's likely to be a very, very busy time. Lots of news, information, learning, talking, meeting, communicating, gaining insight into things, networking, trips, going back and forth, new opportunities, very, very active time mentally, seeking after what we don't yet understand as well, with Mars right now in Gemini in this square to Neptune, really trying to clear up some of these illusions or to gain some clarity around things that we still feel like we're not fully like seeing the whole truth of. So there is a seeking energy, I feel like, that is involved over this next couple months as well, that is helping us to kind of find some of the remaining missing pieces of the puzzle that we need to really move forward in this new direction. Probably lots of fast-paced news cycles going on as well, and scandals also. I would say scandals in the headlines and in the media having to do with like public figures. We've got the Mars square Neptune, while both luminaries are ruled by Mars Mars and Neptune. We've got Saturn and Pisces. We've got the black moon in Leo. This is just sort of a recipe for these public scandals, but public judgment, public accountability as well. So I expect more of that type of thing that is also going on over this next 6-month period of time. But most importantly, I do feel like the main defining feature is going to be these new financial and relational cycles that are beginning now, drastically altering things for the better to reflect their authentic value as we go through this year. But remember, Uranus is, a major player right now as well. And when Uranus is active, this is blessings in disguise energy, and things are not always as they appear when they're happening. And it can upset comfort zones and comfort levels to actually, help us get something ultimately that is much better, much more fulfilling. And with Taurus being the sign where all this is happening right now, reflecting a much greater sense of like personal or collective value somehow, expanded sense of self-worth, value and potential, like I said, an experience that I think we're going to be having. It's much more self-empowered as we finish this year, realizing that we do actually have what it takes to make it through these tough challenges, and trusting ourselves more, also surrender, release, and opening to receive. So sort of this like lose it all to gain it all and more type of energy. So we got to go with the flow of things. We do have this Pisces moon going on, this mutable sign, this square between Mars ruling the sun and Neptune ruling the moon in mutable signs. We're in the last couple days of our lunar, or last, not even couple days, last day of our 2022 astrological lunar cycle with the Equinox, spring equinox 2023 coming in. So endings and beginnings, like there's no greater energetic like description of that. Like literally like the first day of spring happening on the last day of our astrological lunar cycle for the year. Endings and beginnings happening simultaneously, cascading over this next 6 months specifically, but throughout all of, until our new moon in Aries next year as well. But definitely between now and the end of September, I'd say that we are very much primed for some very significant endings and some very significant beginnings, specifically in relation again to these Taurus themes. Value, worth, relating with others, and creativity as well. So that's basically what I have to say for our equinox chart, transmuting darkness into light. Chiron and Jupiter together, that's another thing that we're doing. Fear into faith, facing our fears, but conquering and overcoming, light shining into the darkness. That's what's going on. It's the might versus enlightenment, right? It's the darkness versus the light. It's our fears versus our faith. It's where we've allowed our victimhood and the bad things that have happened to us to take a hold over us and to control us, as opposed to where we have learned to alchemize these within us and to overcome these things and to release and forgive and transcend and open ourselves up, right, to receive the good that is meant to come to us, instead of perpetuating cycles of karmic experience as a result of being attached to the lower frequencies associated with them, because we haven't learned to release ourselves from them yet. So that is another thing that this whole year is about. So the hero's journey is very relevant. It is a return of the sun. It is a return of the light. The battle actually has already been won, okay? It very much appears to be going on, as it's unfolding out right now. But remember, this is all unfolding according to a cosmic blueprint, which has already been written. And we're moving into the age of Aquarius. So as much as there may be, these factions or these forces vying to maintain the status quo of the previous paradigm, it just can't be that, because the energy is changing, and as a result of that, we are all going to change with it. So that's what I have to say today, you guys, for our equinox energy, for our first day of spring on the last day of the year energy, for our endings and beginnings literally fused into one day. So that's where we're at. And I will be back tomorrow to talk about the new moon in Aries, the official beginning of all that is to come throughout the rest of this 2023 lunar cycle. And it's going to be, like I said, some big fresh starts and new beginnings. So anyways, that's what I have to say today, you guys. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think they would like this kind of astrology content, be into this type of thing as well. Leave me comments, you guys. I love your comments. I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a website, some other social media stuff in my description box below. If you're interested in any of that, I write a blog that goes along with these videos that I post over there on Facebook. I also post some shorts over there, so that's where that is. And come back with me tomorrow, you guys. Like I said, we've got a new moon to Aries to talk about. I will be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. And I will see you then, everybody. Have a beautiful equinox. And until tomorrow, bye guys.